My name is Maddie and this is my Flosstube video for March 12th, where I'm going to talk about my cross stitch since the last time we saw each other. So my first project that I want to talk about is my Orchids Art Nouveau panel, which lives in this bag that I made a little while ago. Been making some really big progress on this one. I am getting so close to a finish. I've been working on this since November 2022. It's called Orchids Art Nouveau panel. It's by Annette S on Etsy. It's on an 18 count white Aida with the called for DMC, and it is 2/1 full cross. So, since last time we spoke, I've filled in the teal colours in this circle at the bottom here. So there's a darker ring around the outside and then a slightly lighter colour on the inside. In the background there is that off-white, kind of almost blue-grey, that I'm filling in. And then there's this kind of beige that goes in the rest of the flower. That's it. I've got two colours left. Two colours left out of, I think there's 40 total colours in this whole thing. So, I'm very excited. And this will be a soft finish, kind of like a scroll on the wall when I'm done. If you hear little tippy tappies, that's my dog. You will have seen him in the outro of the last video if you caught that one. The next project that I'm going to talk about lives in this bag that I made. I talked about the patterns in the last video, so I won't go over it again. This is ANZAC, which stands for Australian and New Zealanders Adore Cross Stitch with a K, because the designer at Long Dogs labels cross stitch with a K. I don't know why, but it's cute nonetheless. Sorry about the banging, my bad. So I had just started this one last time we spoke. It is on an 18 count hand-dyed Aida called Aussie Flame by Paddock Lane Designs, and it is a Silks For You colour, PR102. I started this, like I said, 29th of February, and I worked on this little, I think they're a kiwi bird, until I'd finished him and decided to put it away for a little while. You can see the Silks For You isn't like variegated as such. There is a little bit, I guess, because it is over dyed. And because I stitch vertically up and down, you can see some of those colours coming out. A little bit lighter sections, a little bit darker sections. So yeah, pretty chuffed with that. It'll probably be on the shelf for a little while now, as I am working on a finish on orchids, and then there's a couple more pieces that I want to get some more work into in the near future. So the next thing I want to talk about, I am exceptionally excited about and very proud about. It's where a lot of my time has gone into since the last time we spoke. And it is this ginormous project bag. Look at it. Let me roll back so I can show you properly. such a beautiful fabric too, so bright. And I've got that contrast fabric. It's not really contrast, I guess complementary fabric. And it's got a carry strap and a top handle. And this is a little vinyl panel. These antique brass hardware, I got them from there's a shop that I went to, Lynn's Fine Needlework or Lynn's Fine Needlecraft. They have, I think it's Annette or Annie, there's a very popular pattern maker who makes bag patterns, and they have a line of bag hardware as well, and that's what this is, which they are very nice. This is called the Carry Along Maker's Case. I can't quite remember who the pattern designer is for the bag pattern. Give me a second, I'll grab it. So this is the pattern, and this is some of the listing photos. I got it off Etsy, so you'll be able to see those listing photos. Now I'm going to open it and show you in a minute what the notions pouches look like on the inside. So that's some more of the product photos there. So that's the pattern that I followed, the Carry Along Maker's Case, to make this giant bag. So excited about it. It's probably the most complicated sewing pattern that I've done so far to date, all by myself. So on the inside, I put this dragonfly fabric. Isn't that cute? I love it so much. And there's a big pocket here. And then on the inside, there's this notions pouch, which has two pouches at the top and then a long one. And it's actually like velcroed in to the top of the bag so it doesn't move. So there's that. And then there's also another vinyl front separate bag, which, as you can see, I've put my Hero and Stitch floss cards in. And that's like a really long, this other part of it where it's velcroed in. So it's got another double section here and a bigger section here, because this is going to house my supersize max color Heaven and Earth full coverage that I'm going to do, called Waterfall Dragons. So that's the artwork there. It's by Matt Stewart. It's huge. And because I'm going to be stitching on this for, you know, probably a couple of decades at least, I wanted to have a really sturdy project bag that has everything in it. So I'm going to have thread conditioner, I'm going to have scissors, I'm going to have a thread bed to put my little loose ends in, I'm going to have all the bits and bobs. So for reference, I normally have this is my stitching box. I picked it up at a market a couple of years ago. That's the signature on the bottom there. Look at them. Look at this little bird. He's my favorite ever. So it's a little wood burn box. And in here I have all of my stitching bits and bobs. So water erasable pen. I've got my, it's gross, but it's the beeswax thread wax from, where are they? Cool Embodied Naturals. So that's what the lid of it looks like. And you can find them on Etsy. I've got 2 of theirs now, and that just lives in there. I've got a little needle threader. I've got a little tin that I put all my loose ends in, and then I've also got a tiny pair of the Kohana mini scissors, which I got fairly recently. There's also a pen in there, which I'm not going to try and pull out and show you, but these I will show you. Aren't they just precious? As Lala D Stitches would say. Aren't they just darling? Is that what she says? There's a phrase that she says. Something like that. Anyway, I love watching her videos. But instead of having that separate, which is what I usually use, I just pull out my project bag and grab my little box. Waterfall Dragons is going to be all in one, so I can just grab the bag and go, and I don't have to think about it. I will need to bring my tablet though, so I can have a pack and keeper on it, but we'll figure that out. So that was my really big achievement. I was so excited about finishing that. The next thing I want to talk about is a little bit of purchasing. So I actually, one of my pastimes is going on eBay and searching used patterns in Australia and just seeing what comes up for cross stitch patterns. And I found one that I really liked. It's an old DMC chart that I bought called Clover Fairy or Fairy and Clover or something. And I have it. I just don't know where I put it. So I opened it at a weird time of day when I got the mail, and I had it upstairs and I was showing my boyfriend, and then I brought it back down, and it's only, you know, half an A4. It's like an A5 sort of size, all folded up. And I've put it somewhere. So I'll try and insert the listing photo if I can still grab it so you guys can see what it is. And if not, hopefully I should have it by my next video to show you guys. And then I was also at my local L&S and I picked up a couple of Mirabilias that were on my wish list. So the first one is Shakespeare's Fairies. So this is Shakespeare's Fairies by Nora Corbett, MD103. Has a stitch count of 307 by 136. And I just love their little lanterns. I'm a sucker for lanterns like that. And I'm envisioning this on a very dark fabric. So like the shadows in their dresses and the tips of their wings sort of blend into kind of dark fabric. And I think that'll make those lanterns really, really pop. That's the vision. When I'll get to it, who knows. But as we know, Mirabilias do go out of print. It's not uncommon for them to just disappear. And my local L&S, the lady who works there, was telling me that they don't get notified when things are going out of print. It's just when they go to reorder, it's not there anymore. So the ones that I have taken the time to write down on my wish list, which have obviously stuck in my mind and I think about often, I'm going to try and purchase them when I see them, if I can. So the other one that I got was Lily of the Woods, which I've seen a couple of people stitching. I don't remember who, sorry. And I know that that dress color is different. I think it's a green dress, if I'm not mistaken, than what's on the cover photo. But look at those wings. Aren't they glorious? So this is MD80, Lily of the Woods, The Dreaming Fairy by Nora Corbett. And it has a stitch count of 207 by 222. So those were two of my purchases. My other purchase that I want to talk about is a stitch along that I'm very excited about. It's called the Herbalist Stitch Along. So this is the cover piece that I got when I brought the pattern. It is from, I'll try and pop up a photo while I'm talking. So it's from World on a String, I believe. Dara Whitlock. Yeah, World on a String by Dara. So I bought it from Dara's website. I'd seen it from Nocta Flora Designs on Instagram and shared a post, so I found it that way. And I think it's going to be the cutest. I am so excited for it. So to give you a bit of an idea of the colors, that's the printout. So those are all the colors that are involved. And I do love the style of World on a String. They also do those, they're called a zine, the online magazines. I think they organize them. I've seen a few come up and they're pretty exciting too. But, so the stitch along will run from March through till September, I think, August or September. So the frame is releasing March 15th and part 1 will release April 15th. So the frame's going to be released this week, which is very exciting, but I don't have fabric and I don't have floss picked out. So when the frame's released, I'll have a look and see if I've got any fabric that might fit. I doubt I will. And I also really want to have a look at some of the fox and rabbit options at the Makery. I might find something fun to put it on. And then I'll get stuck into it and hopefully I'll have the frame done by the time the first part's released in April. If not, boohoo, I'll work it out. So this will be my second official stitch along. The first stitch along I did was the Horrorfly style by Noctiflora Designs. I'll go and grab my fully finished object for that actually, because I think you'll enjoy having a look at it. So this is my finish, which I have altered from the original pattern. So it's not on the called for fabric and it's not with the called for floss. It's my own, what I had in stash. And I also recharted some of it. So this is the Horrorflies. Was a stitch along by Noctiflora Designs, Rare Horrorflies. It was a stitch along by Noctiflora Designs last year, which was my first stitch along I ever did. And I'm quite excited about it. I just love looking at it. I have these all hung up beside my chair where I do a lot of my stitching, and it's a big inspiration. Like I said, I recharted some of it, mostly the words there. I forgot some branches that were supposed to go in here, and the frame I recharted as well because I liked the swoopies instead of what they had in there, which was like drippies. Super fun. So I'm hoping that the Herbalist stitch along will be equally as fun. It is a bit of a different flavor because I think Dara said they're going to release like a little blurb about each of the plants that they're including in the stitch along, which I think will be super fun. So I will be updating you on the Herbalist stitch along over my next few videos, hopefully. I'll show you the fabric and the floss that I decide on for it and keep you updated. Next, obviously I was in a bit of a purchasing mood the last couple of weeks, but you'll be proud of me. For my next purchases, they were free. So on my wish list as well, because I was looking at that one day, I had some, what do you call it, the 101 Owls by Our Forest Embroidery, which is a very popular pattern. So that's my print off of it, a mock-up. It's not 101, it's 100 owls. There's no extra one. Maybe I'll put an extra one in there just because. So there are 100 owls on this, I think you call it a sampler style stitch. And it is completely free on the Our Forest website. So I went and printed that off so I could have it in my stash. And while I was looking through their freebies, I found another one that I really loved. So it didn't have a cover photo on the printout, but it does have one on the website. Just trying to remember what it's called. Houseplant something. I don't know. It was a stitch along at some point. Let me just make it focus for you so you're not just looking at nothing. So it was a stitch along at some point, and the printout, same as the 100 owls, is done in sections, so they don't print out just the whole pattern, they print out in sections. So it took me a little while to actually get them printed. And with this one, because I spent all that time printing it out, I had time to think about it while I was going. And what I think I'll do, instead of doing the whole design as charted, I think I'm going to pick out the motifs that I love the most and stitch those individually as smalls. And the first one I'm going to do are those orchids. You can probably tell already that I love orchids because of my giant one that I'm doing. But I'm going to stitch these little guys, these orchids, on a piece of that navy blue that I had dyed for my love bug sampler. And pink and blue, pink and really dark blue, navy and pink. Yes. I think it's going to be so pretty. Very excited. It's back in the right spot, so it ain't. Cool. And then the other freebie that I couldn't resist while I was there is this lemurs one. How sweet. Aren't they the cutest? Kind of reminds me of King Julian from Madagascar, that movie. I just thought that was sweet and cute and I wanted to stitch it. So I picked up that. I downloaded it and got it printed. So if I ever lose the file or something goes wrong or whatever, I've got it. And I don't think it's that big either. 103 by 109? Yeah, it's not that big. 100 by 100. I can knock that out fairly quickly compared to some of my other ones. Now, the next thing I have to talk to you about is my apples, is what I'm calling it. Now, it's the one that was like an insert from a magazine, and I'm marking it off as I go because I'm working on 40 count linen for the first time. It's in this bag that I made. So I worked on this recently. And you may have seen it on my Instagram if you follow me there. It's the same handle. I'm just gonna get my board. And that is where I'm up to on that. So the leaves in that area are completely done now. I said last time I wasn't sure about that other green, that lighter green, but I think I'm going to stick with it. And I think the ducky is from Amity Havoc. I could be wrong though, on Etsy. And I'm liking 40 count linen so far. It is obviously a little bit harder to see than some of my other stitching that I'm doing. But I do love the coverage of one strand over two on 40 count. And the last thing is a new start. So what I actually decided to do, it's in this baggie, which if you're a keen observer, you'll note had my puppy and squirrel stitch in it last video. I've shelved that one temporarily while I try out 22 count because I would like to do my waterfall dragons on 22 count. So I pulled out this kit that I got secondhand. Can't remember whether it was an op shop or the embroidery event, either or. and it does call for like 2/2 and 1/2 and all that stuff, but I'm just going to do it 1/1 with full and half crosses, and that's where I'm at the moment. Am I the right way around? Yeah, I feel like that's right. So I usually put my needle minder up there, so that makes sense. So this is the coverage on, see how close I can get. It's gonna run in and out of focus apparently. This is the coverage on 22 count with 1 strand. I'm not really enjoying working on 28 count 1/1, which is what I'm doing for my billabong stitch. And I really need to enjoy the process of stitching on waterfall dragons, because that is going to be, like I've said, a couple of decades. But I am loving the process so far. So I'm going to get a bit more stuck into this. So my focus for the near future will be getting some more in on this and hopefully finishing my Orchids Art Nouveau panel. And so by the next time I see you, hopefully, I will have decided, hold on a second. By the next time I see you, I will have decided, hopefully, whether or not I'm going to go ahead with the 22 count for my waterfall dragons, and hopefully I'll have it finished to show you on my orchids panel. Touch wood. I haven't jinxed myself or anything. But yeah, I'm really excited about both of those things. I cannot wait to get started on my waterfall dragons. It feels like so right to be starting it in the year of the dragon too. It's the Chinese zodiac year of the dragon. Actually, that's another pattern that I really am interested in from Our Forest. They have that 2 dragons pattern. It looks stunning. Thank you so much for joining me today for my cross stitch update for March 12, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.